I want you to picture a moment that probably feels familiar. It's early spring. You open your bank app, and there it is, that deposit from the IRS. For a second, your shoulders drop. You breathe a little easier. Maybe you even smile. Because for a brief moment, it feels like something went right, like the system finally worked in your favor, like you caught a break. And almost immediately, your brain starts spending it. Groceries that have been stressing you out, that credit card balance you've been avoiding, something small you've been putting off because money's been tight for months. That moment of relief is real, and I want to be clear about that. But here's the uncomfortable part we don't talk about enough. That refund isn't really a win. And for a growing number of Americans, it's quietly becoming a problem. Not because people are irresponsible, not because they're bad with money, but because of what refunds now represent in our financial lives. Let's talk about why. Most people think of an IRS refund as a bonus, a little reward for surviving the year, a forced savings account that shows up right when you need it most. And honestly, that belief makes sense. Life is expensive. Paychecks disappear fast. Rent, food, gas, insurance, it all hits before you even get a chance to breathe. So when that refund arrives, it feels like relief you didn't know how else to create. But here's the reframe most people never hear. A refund is just your own money given back to you late. It's money you already earned, money that was withheld from every paycheck, little by little, without asking how badly you needed it at the time. And for decades, that system didn't feel especially harmful. Inflation was lower. Wages, while imperfect, weren't being crushed the way they are now. Emergencies didn't feel constant. But that world is gone. Today, a growing number of Americans aren't getting refunds because they're doing well. They're getting refunds because they were over-withheld while living paycheck to paycheck. And that changes everything. When money's tight, timing matters more than totals. $2,000 spread across a year can mean groceries that don't go on a credit card. It can mean avoiding overdraft fees. It can mean not carrying balances that quietly charge you interest every single month. But when that same money shows up all at once, months later, it doesn't solve those problems. It just patches the damage. And psychologically, that's where refunds start to become dangerous. Because when relief only comes once a year, your brain starts planning around it. You tolerate stress longer than you should. You put off adjustments that might help now. You normalize financial discomfort because you know a reset is coming. It's not laziness, it's survival behavior. The human brain is incredibly good at adapting to pressure, especially when it believes relief is scheduled. But here's the catch. That relief trains you to live with less flexibility the rest of the year. Instead of building small buffers month by month, you're forced into a cycle of tension and release. Stress, relief, stress again. And over time, that cycle becomes your financial baseline. This is where refunds quietly intersect with psychology. When money arrives in a lump sum, it feels different than money earned gradually. It feels less connected to effort, less connected to trade-offs, and more emotionally charged. That's why refunds are so often spent quickly, even when people had good intentions. Not because people are careless, but because emotionally that money represents relief, not strategy. It's finally breathing, not slowly building. And when inflation is high, that relief doesn't last long. Groceries cost more than you expected. Bills are higher than last year. The refund disappears faster than it used to. So the system quietly trains people into a pattern where money never really feels under control, even when they're technically getting money back. There's another layer here that doesn't get talked about enough. Refunds often hide the real problem. If you're relying on a refund to catch up, it's usually a sign that your cash flow during the year is too tight. Not your character, not your discipline, your timing. And when timing is off, even good decisions feel stressful. You might be doing everything right on paper, working hard, avoiding big mistakes, trying to stay afloat.
But if your money only works when it shows up once a year, the system isn't serving you. This is where the turning point happens. The shift isn't about trying to eliminate refunds completely or optimize every dollar. It's about understanding that financial peace comes from consistency, not windfalls. From smoother months, not bigger moments. When money flows in a way that matches real life, stress drops dramatically. Not because you're richer, but because you're less tense all the time. Small adjustments in withholding, small increases in monthly breathing room, small buffers that prevent emergencies from becoming disasters. None of that is flashy, none of it makes headlines, but psychologically, it's powerful. Because when you don't need a refund to feel okay, you stop living in anticipation mode. You stop borrowing peace from the future, and you start making calmer decisions in the present. Practically, this doesn't mean flipping your entire financial life upside down. It might mean taking a quiet look at your paycheck and asking if the system is withholding more than it needs to. It might mean building a small emergency cushion during the year instead of hoping a refund will fix things later. It might mean reframing a refund not as a reward, but as feedback, information about how your money is actually moving through your life. And if you still get one, that's okay. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is awareness. Because when you understand what refunds really represent, you stop letting them define your financial story. You stop seeing relief as something that happens to you and start seeing stability as something you slowly create. And that's the quiet truth here. IRS refunds aren't becoming a problem because people are failing. They're becoming a problem because life has become less forgiving, more expensive, and less flexible, while the system stayed the same. And once you see that, the anxiety starts to loosen its grip. Not overnight, not magically, but gradually. Because progress with money isn't about big wins. It's about fewer moments of panic, more moments of calm, and a life where you don't have to wait for spring to breathe again. That's the real shift, and it's closer than it feels.